My next guest, Democratic Congressman Rajai Krishnamurthy, spoke out on the House floor earlier this year in favor of the Assad Anti-Normalization Act.
Some countries are even willing to recognize the Assad regime. America must not. Assad, his regime, and their backers have given us no basis whatsoever to justify normalizing relations with a government responsible for the slaughter of 600,000 men, women, and children.
And Congressman Krishnamurthy joins me now. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the show. Quite a historic 24 hours. Let me start by getting your reaction to, to Assad when he was reelected for a fourth term. Back then, you called it a sham victory in a rigged election, saying it was only another example of the despotism of a dictator who has repeatedly demonstrated his unflinching willingness to poison and butcher his own people to prop up a regime which has failed the Syrian people for decades. The Assad regime has now collapsed. What is going on through your head, sir?
I guess I have three observations. First of all, I've been texting and talking to numerous Syrian Americans who are elated about what has happened in Syria. We have a new day. Secondly, we are watching Mr. Gilani very carefully, but actions speak louder than words. How is he going to treat, for instance, minorities, Alawites, Druze, even other Shiite elements who are in, and of course the Kurds in Syria? And then the third is, we have roughly 1,000 American troops stationed in Syria, mainly to fight off ISIS. But also, we keep a very close eye on elements who are proxies of Iran. And so how is Gilani, how is the new government going to view ISIS? How are they going to view the use of Syria as basically a transit point for Iranian arms shipments to Hezbollah in Lebanon, which, as you know, have been used against Israel? So those are a few of my immediate observations.
Before we get into the geopolitics of this, Congressman, let me just ask you point blankly, do you believe the U.S. had any role with the timing of this? I mean, it's quite remarkable. I've spoken to many Syrians as well. Many of them are surprised by the fact that the rebels decided to launch this offensive in the span of 2 weeks, managed to get to, they caught everybody by surprise. And many of them doubt that it was prompted entirely and organically by Syrians.
Let me just say this. I think that the U.S. Has been very supportive of a number of rebel groups there. And I think that it's entirely within the realm of possibility that our assistance has been very useful in the most recent effort. But stepping back for a second, we have to understand how Russian and Iranian support have really primarily propped up the Assad regime, and the fact that the Russians were so weakened through their war in Ukraine, as well as how Iranian elements have been weakened in recent weeks, especially with U.S. support of Israel against Iran, has helped to lead to this moment now.
You talked about the actions of Abu Muhammad Jolani, the leader of HTS, a man who still has a $10 million bounty on his head, who was a member or an affiliate of various terrorist groups, including al-Qaeda and ISIS at one point. He's signaling a different phase, if you will, and you're saying you want to see actions. Tell me what it would take for the U.S. Congress or the State Department specifically to undesignate him from that foreign terrorist organization list.
Good question. I think that right now what we want to see from this gentleman is we want to see him put into practice what he has said, which is he wants the different sects to peacefully coexist in Syria. He's not going to undertake some kind of Islamization of Syria the way that, for instance, the Taliban has done in Afghanistan. Remember, the Taliban also had some nice words before their recent actions, which, for instance, have stripped women of all of their rights in Afghanistan. So we need to watch him very carefully. And also we need to watch how he treats ISIS, how he treats Iran, how he treats, Russians have military bases still in Syria. What is he going to do with them? So we're going to be watching all of these actions very closely and then making judgments after that.
All right, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate your insights, sir.
Thank you so much.